Have you ever had a moment where your vision blurred for no reason, or your balance suddenly gave out, and you had to grab a chair just to stay upright? Maybe you tried to speak, and the words came out slurred, or didn't come out at all. That's why in this video we're walking through the 8 subtle symptoms your body gives before a stroke strikes. These signs don't scream, they whisper. And if you're over 60, you need to hear them. Because when it comes to your brain, timing isn't just important, it's everything. You thought, it's probably just because I didn't sleep well, or maybe I'm just getting older. But what if I told you? But it could be the first clue that your brain is in danger. Those tiny moments, those whispers from your body, could be the only warning you get before a stroke changes your life forever. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Americans suffer strokes that could have been prevented, if only they had recognized the early signs. When blood flow to that area gets disrupted, even for a few seconds, your ability to stay upright is compromised. That's why this dizziness doesn't go away just by lying down. It doesn't feel like regular tiredness. It feels off, like your body knows something's wrong, but you can't quite explain it. So stay with me until the end. Each sign builds on the next, and by the final one, you'll have a complete picture that might just save your life, or the life of someone you love. And if you've ever experienced any of these signs before, even just one, leave a comment below. Your story might help someone else take action in time. Now, let's start with the most overlooked stroke warning sign of all. A feeling so common, most people dismiss it without a second thought. Let us talk about sudden dizziness or loss of balance, the kind that sneaks up on you out of nowhere. Maybe you stood up and the room tilted slightly, or you were walking and suddenly felt like your legs weren't cooperating. You reached for the wall or a chair, convinced it was just dehydration, low blood sugar, or maybe you skipped breakfast. But here's the truth. When you're over 60, this type of dizziness isn't normal, especially if it happens suddenly and without any clear reason. It could be your brain's first cry for help, and ignoring it could cost you dearly. This kind of disorientation often starts in the cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for your balance and coordination. Many seniors write it off as just age, but let me be clear. A sudden loss of balance is not normal aging, especially if it's paired with other symptoms like blurry vision, nausea, or a heavy feeling in your head. These are red flags, and they're not just waving, they're screaming. If you ever experience this, don't just sit and wait. Call emergency services immediately. Here's a simple test. The next time you feel dizzy for no reason, try to walk a straight line or balance on one foot. If it feels unusually difficult or your vision shifts along with the dizziness, it might not be nothing. It might be a mini stroke, or worse, the beginning of a full-blown stroke. And here is what most people don't know. TIAs are often followed by a major stroke within days. That's why ignoring these moments can be so dangerous. Your body is literally giving you a second chance, but only if you listen. Have you ever felt this kind of strange, unexplained dizziness? If so, please share your story in the comments. Someone else out there might hear it and realize they've felt the same thing, and your experience might be the push they need to seek help before it's too late. Now let's move to another early warning sign. This one often hides in plain sight because it affects how you see the world around you, literally. Have you ever looked up and noticed that the world just didn't look right for a moment? Maybe everything seemed blurry or doubled. Sometimes the first area they target is the part of your brain that processes what your eyes see. The result? Vision that suddenly becomes fuzzy, distorted, or even dark, sometimes in just one eye, sometimes both. What's terrifying is that this change can come and go in seconds and still mean serious trouble. That's why so many people brush it off. But even if your vision clears up quickly, you can't assume it's nothing, or like you were peering through a foggy window. Perhaps one of your eyes suddenly stopped focusing, or you saw black spots dancing in your vision. These moments are easy to ignore. You might think, I probably just need new glasses, or maybe I stared at a screen too long. But here's the truth. Sudden vision changes are not a normal part of aging, and they could be one of the earliest signs that a stroke is silently brewing in your brain. You see, strokes don't always affect your heart rate or cause pain. These sudden, short-lived vision disruptions are often caused by TIAs or transient ischemic attacks, what doctors call mini strokes. So here's a simple rule. If your vision changes suddenly, even for just a few seconds, take it seriously. Don't chalk it up to fatigue or aging. Call for help. Get checked immediately. A short blackout or a moment of double vision could be the one whisper before the storm. And if you've experienced something like this before, even once, talk about it in the comments. You may think it's no big deal, but someone reading your story might recognize the same symptom in themselves and make the decision to get help just in time. Now let's move on to a warning sign that doesn't affect what you see, but how your brain processes what you understand and how you speak. If the words don't sound like they usually do, or if they just want to come, get medical help immediately. And if this has ever happened to you or someone you love, share it in the comments. Someone else may recognize their own symptoms through your story, and you might help save their life. Now picture this. You're in the middle of a normal conversation, maybe with your spouse, your friend, or even just talking to yourself out loud, and suddenly, the words don't come out right. You know exactly what you want to say, but the sentence tumbles out jumbled. Or worse, nothing comes out at all. Maybe the person you're talking to sounds like they're speaking in riddles, like your brain can't keep up with their words. It's confusing, frustrating, and honestly terrifying. You might tell yourself, I'm just tired. Maybe I didn't sleep well. But let me be clear, this is not just a senior moment. This could be aphasia, a dangerous symptom of a stroke attacking the language center of your brain, when the left side of the brain, the area responsible for language and communication, starts losing blood flow. Even briefly, it can shut down your ability to process or produce speech. You might understand what's happening. You might even be fully conscious and aware that something's wrong. And that's what makes it so scary. You're still you on the inside, but your words won't come out. It's like your brain is working, or trying to speak, but the sentence just won't form. If this happens, even for a minute, don't wait it out. It could be a mini stroke or the beginning of something much worse. And time, again, is everything when it comes to protecting your brain. But your mouth and thoughts are out of sync. Here's what to watch for. Suddenly struggling to find common words, mixing up what you meant to say, hearing normal speech but not understanding it clearly. A quick test. Try to say a simple sentence like, I need help right now. Now let's talk about the next warning sign. It's one that can come out of nowhere, and when it does, it can literally rob you of your voice in seconds. Even though your mind feels perfectly fine. Imagine this. You're feeling fine, alert, maybe even in the middle of doing something completely normal. Many older adults brush it off. I must be exhausted. I'll be fine after I sit down. But stroke-related speech changes don't feel like ordinary fatigue. They come on fast, they catch you off guard, and they often show up before any other symptoms. Here's a powerful and simple test. Try saying your full name. Now say, today is a beautiful day. Listen carefully. Does it sound slurred? Does your voice feel slow or disconnected from your thoughts? If anything seems off even just a little, don't wait to see if it passes. Even if it clears up in a few minutes, it could have been a TIA, a mini stroke, and the next one could hit much harder and leave lasting damage. When suddenly, your voice doesn't sound like your own. You try to say your name or a simple phrase like, I'm okay, but the words come out slurred, slow, or garbled. Your mouth might feel heavy, your tongue thick like it's not moving the way it should. And even though your brain is working just fine, your mouth just won't cooperate. This isn't just tiredness. It's not because you skipped lunch or didn't drink enough water. This could be your brain trying to send you an urgent message through your voice. A stroke may be happening right now. Slurred or distorted speech is one of the most recognizable warning signs of a stroke, but it's also one of the easiest to ignore, especially in the early moments. The ability to speak is something we take for granted until we lose it. And the earlier you act, the better your chance of protecting your voice, your clarity, and your independence. Have you or someone you know ever had a moment like this, where your words just stopped working even for a short time? If so, please share that story in the comments, because someone else might hear your experience and realize they need to take their own moment seriously. And now let us move to one of the most dramatic signs a stroke can give, a sudden loss of strength or movement on one side of the body. Now imagine this. You go to reach for your coffee mug and your arm suddenly feels like it weighs 100 pounds. Or you try to stand up, but one of your legs won't respond the way it should. Maybe your hand feels numb. Maybe your grip just vanishes. In a flash, part of your body simply stops listening to your brain. That's why you might try to lift your arm, but it won't rise. That's why your leg might drag when you walk. That's why your fingers feel numb or your hand won't close around a glass. It's not fatigue. It's not that you slept wrong. It's a disconnection. And it's happening because your brain is in trouble. Your body doesn't just forget how to walk. When the part of your brain that controls coordination and movement is deprived of blood, even briefly, it can no longer send the right signals to your legs and feet. That's why your steps feel heavy, uneven, or unsure. It's not your shoes. It's your brain. And here's what makes this symptom especially dangerous. It often gets dismissed. Seniors are used to being told, "You're just getting older," or "That's normal with age." But stroke-related clumsiness is different. It doesn't build slowly. It strikes fast. It doesn't come after a long day. It can happen first thing in the morning, and it may be the only warning you get before something worse hits. So please, if you ever feel unsteady on your feet out of nowhere, don't try to walk it off. Don't go lie down hoping it passes. Call emergency services right away. And if this has happened to you, whether it ended in a fall or not, talk about it in the comments. Your story could be the one that convinces someone else not to wait. Now we've covered dizziness, vision changes, speech problems, and loss of movement. But up next is one of the loudest and scariest signs of all. A stroke symptom that doesn't creep in. It explodes into your life without warning. A sudden, severe headache. This kind of one-sided weakness or numbness is not just strange. It is one of the most serious red flags your body can give you. And if it comes on suddenly, especially without pain, you could be experiencing a stroke. When a stroke blocks blood flow to the part of your brain responsible for controlling movement, the communication between your brain and muscles is disrupted. Here's a quick way to test yourself. Try to raise both arms straight in front of you. Hold them there. Can you keep both up evenly? Or does one slowly drift down or feel too weak to lift? If you can't raise one side, or it doesn't feel right, do not ignore it. Even if the weakness or numbness goes away after a few minutes, it could still have been a TIA. And remember, mini strokes are often just the warning shots before the real storm. This symptom isn't subtle, and yet so many people wait, telling themselves it'll pass. But every second lost is brain function lost. Strength, mobility, even your ability to live independently can be affected forever if you don't act fast. If you've ever had a moment like this, where part of your body just stopped responding, don't keep it to yourself. Share it in the comments. Your story might be the key that helps someone else recognize what's happening and call for help before it's too late. Next, let us talk about something you have probably blamed on getting older. But when it shows up suddenly, it could be your body's final warning before a stroke hits. Let's talk about clumsiness, stumbling, and trouble walking. You're walking across the room, maybe headed to the kitchen or the bathroom, when suddenly your leg feels off, like it forgot how to move. Maybe your foot drags slightly. Maybe you stumble, even though nothing's in your way. It happens so fast, so strangely, that you tell yourself, "I must have just tripped over my own feet." Or maybe I'm just getting older. But let me ask you something. Did it feel sudden? Did you feel fine just moments before? If the answer is yes, then that wasn't just clumsiness. That could have been a stroke whispering for your attention before it starts screaming. Sudden trouble walking, feeling wobbly, or losing your balance without any clear cause is a serious neurological red flag. Picture this. You're going about your day when, out of nowhere, a lightning bolt of pain shoots through your head. It's not a slow-building ache. It's not a tension headache from a stressful afternoon. It's fast, it's sharp, it's violent, like a thunderclap inside your skull. And if you're not someone who normally gets headaches, this one feels terrifyingly out of place. If that ever happens to you, drop everything and call for help, because this isn't just pain. This could be a hemorrhagic stroke, and every second counts. A hemorrhagic stroke happens when a blood vessel in your brain bursts, flooding your brain with blood and causing pressure that can spiral out of control in minutes. And the warning sign. A sudden severe headache that hits like nothing you've ever felt before. It might come with nausea, confusion, trouble seeing, a stiff neck, or it might just be pain that feels wrong, pain that feels deadly. The danger here is that too many people try to tough it out. They lie down, take a painkiller, tell themselves they're just dehydrated or overtired or stressed. But let me be clear, when bleeding happens inside your brain, waiting can mean irreversible damage or even death. And this type of stroke moves fast. You don't have time to second guess. If the headache feels wrong, like your head might split in half, get help immediately. Even if you're unsure, it's better to be safe than sorry, because your brain doesn't get second chances. Have you or someone you know ever had a sudden headache that turned out to be something serious? Please share that story in the comments. It could be the very thing that helps someone else recognize the danger and act quickly. And now, let's move on to the most visible, unmistakable warning of all. Something you can actually see in the mirror. It's a drooping face, an uneven smile, a silent scream from your brain that says, "Get help right now." Go ahead, look in the mirror right now and smile. Does both sides of your mouth rise evenly? Do your cheeks move the same way? Do your eyes look symmetrical? If even one part of that looks off, if your smile seems crooked or one side of your face feels heavy or still, you could be witnessing one of the clearest and most urgent signs of a stroke. This isn't subtle. This isn't something to sleep off. This is your brain screaming for help through your face, and it wants you to listen immediately. When a stroke hits the part of your brain that controls your facial muscles, it usually affects just one side. That's why your smile might lift on the right but stay flat on the left. Or maybe your eye starts to droop. Your cheek feels numb. You might not even feel it at first, but others around you may notice something looks off. And here's what's terrifying. Sometimes this might be the only sign that shows up. No headache, no speech problems, just a slightly uneven expression that's actually your brain begging for emergency attention. Here's a simple test that doctors use, and you should too. It's called FAST, F for face, ask them to smile. Is one side drooping? A for arms, ask them to raise both arms. Does one drift down? S for speech, ask them to say a simple sentence. Is it slurred or strange? T for time. If even one of these is off, time is critical. Call 911 immediately. Even if the droop disappears after a few minutes, it could have been a mini stroke, and that means the next one might not be so forgiving. Seconds matter. Brain cells die with every passing moment. And what could have been a full recovery might become a lifetime of disability, just because someone waited too long to act. And that's what makes it so dangerous, because by the time most people realize what's happening, it's already too late. But now you know better. You've just been given a checklist that could save your memory, your speech, your ability to walk, and maybe even your life. We provide practical solutions to improve your diet, body, and mind, all in an easy and accessible way. Ready to take the next step toward a healthier life? Check out the recommended products that can support your journey. Find the links in the pinned comment. Subscribe now and turn on notifications to stay updated with the best tips on longevity, nutrition, and wellness. Let's transform our health together. If this video helped you even a little, drop a thank you in the comments. Your words encourage others to watch. If you have a story, share it. And don't forget to subscribe to WellNexus Seniors and turn on notifications for more clear, honest, and potentially life-saving advice every single week. Stay alert, stay informed, and most importantly, listen when your body speaks. So here is what I am asking you to do. Don't just watch this video and move on. Watch it again, share it with your spouse, send it to your friends, post it in a group for older adults. You never know who might need to hear it. And if even one person gets help because of you, you've made a difference that cannot be measured. And if any of these signs felt familiar to you, if you've ever felt dizzy for no reason, struggled to find your words, or noticed a weird heaviness on one side of your body, talk to your doctor. Don't wait. Don't explain it away. Because when it comes to stroke, the truth is simple. The faster you act, the more of your brain you can save. If you or someone you love has ever looked in the mirror and noticed a crooked smile or a heavy eyelid, please share that story in the comments. You might help someone else recognize the same warning and save their own life. And now that you know all 8 early signs, Let us wrap this up by talking about what to do next, because information is only powerful when you act on it. Now that you've learned the 8 early warning signs of a stroke, you might be thinking, what do I do with all this information? Here's the answer. Don't ignore even one of these signs. Whether it's a slurred word, a crooked smile, a dizzy spell, or a strange numbness in your arm, your body doesn't whisper like that for no reason. Especially after 60, those whispers might be your brain's only chance to ask for help before the damage becomes permanent. Stroke doesn't always hit like a thunderbolt. Sometimes it tiptoes in, quietly, subtly, disguised as a moment of confusion or a weird stumble on the stairs. Our channel is dedicated to bringing you science-backed information to help you live a healthier, more energetic and balanced life.